Trenton Freedom, dressed in white, took on the Lehigh Valley Steelhawks, dressed in black. The Trenton Freedom came in with a record of 2-1, while the Lehigh Valley Steelhawks came in with a record of 2-0. The winner of this game would get first place in the National Conference. Michael Bernard opened the game with a kickoff return, which the ball ended up going right into the uprights, which gave the Steelhawks a 1-0 lead over the Freedom. However, the Steelhawks' opening possession resulted in a fumble loss in the end zone recovered by Freedom linebacker Jeffrey Morgan for a touchdown. On the ensuing possession, Michael Bernard came through with a long field goal to cut the Freedom's lead to 7-4. Moments later, Freedom's Jaquan Bryant returned a kickoff from deep within their own end zone for another Freedom's touchdown, increasing their lead to 14-4. The Steelhawks were quick to respond back as Adam Benaric went 12 for 23, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, connected with Scott Pillar for 105 yards and 3 touchdowns for a touchdown on the first play of the drive. Michael Bernard added an extra point to cut the Freedom's lead to 14-12 by the end of the first quarter. Less than a minute into the second quarter, Freedom's quarterback Warren Smith found Landis Williams in the end zone to increase the Freedom lead to 21-12 over the Steelhawks. The Steelhawks were quick to answer once again as Benaric connected with Pillar on a deep pass for a touchdown, which made the score 21-19. The pace of the game slowed drastically after a series of penalties on the Steelhawk defense during a nearly 9-minute possession by the Freedom that resulted in a field goal. On the ensuing drive, Lehigh Valley picked the pace right back up as Benaric and Pillar duo struck again for a touchdown, followed by a successful 2-point conversion run by Pillar. The Steelhawks held a 28-24 lead at the halfway point of the game. The Steelhawk offense picked up right where they left off to start the second half. A solid drive down the field, ending in a short touchdown run by Benaric, gave them the largest lead of the game at 35-24. The Freedom answered right back with a touchdown of their own on their next possession with a pass from Smith to Jackson, cutting the Steelhawks' lead to 5. The Freedom's defense came up big as Jeffrey Morgan returned a deflected pass for a touchdown to give Trenton a 1-point lead and the momentum deep into the third quarter. Bernard came up wide on a field goal attempt on the next Steelhawk possession. The Freedom held a 36-35 lead after 3 quarters. Consecutive holding penalties negated the Freedom touchdown and ultimately resulted in a turnover on downs to start the final quarter. Bernard was able to hit the next field goal attempt to put the Steelhawks ahead 38-36 with just over 10 minutes left to play. Defensive back Dwayne Hollis came up with an interception in the end zone on the first play of the Freedom's next possession, but the Steelhawk offense could not convert into points. After a strong defensive stand, Lehigh Valley was able to regain possession and add 3 more points to their lead after Bernard's field goal. And Uno on the ensuing kickoff gave the Steelhawks a 42-36 lead with just over 1 minute remaining. The Freedom drove the ball down the Steelhawks' 2-yard line with 6 seconds remaining. An offsides call on the Freedom offensive line pushed them back to the 7-yard line. The Steelhawk defense came up with one last stop as time expired to solidify the victory. Final score, Lehigh Valley 42, Trenton 36. The win puts the Steelhawks at 3-0 and comfortably on top of the National Conference standings.